Nate Tice here, Yahoo Sports with Kevin O'Connell. Newly minted AP NFL Coach of the Year, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings as well. Here on behalf of Zebra Technologies. How you doing today, Coach? Also, congratulations on a huge award. Well deserved.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here with you. Good to be here for Zebra. Big fan of them and all they do to help me be a better head coach. So it's a really cool thing to be representing them today.
Usually coaches don't like zebras, so this is good. It's a big first step.
Those guys in those striped shirts are different than this wonderful company that has all the technology to track all of our players and make sure in real-time practice games, everything that it is, make sure that we're taking care of our guys and having the best team we can possibly have. Zebra's part of that. Zebra's everywhere, so it's not just in football. They're all over the place helping society be the best version of itself, as you know I like to say, with our players.
Absolutely. Well, one player that always feels like the best version of himself is Justin Jefferson, of course, where I always thought that your guys' designs especially did a really good job of using not only Jefferson's skills, but the gravity of Justin Jefferson. Do you have a process that you go into, and I think we've talked about this before once, but just the process that you go into about breaking down the next team, getting those red zone designs, and maybe that one example where you're like, oh, that was good. Like maybe the Jordan Addison double move against the Packers, or the stutter and go that you had, or something of that sort where you're using that weight to open up somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's the most critical thing. Is a lot of times the film going into games looks a heck of a lot different than what we come out of and see our games look like, because he has that gravity and willing to make teams change who they are altogether to make sure they limit his impact. You talk about that touchdown to Jordan Addison on the double move in either game. We really got him in both of them. But those are really the starting point. Is okay, where is Justin and where will the tilt and the lean of the coverage be at the very least? There might be a flat out double team on him. They might just lean help over the top. They might make sure underneath coverage are pushing his way. So let's let Jordan operate in as much space as possible. Dynamic route runner and go to work. TJ Hawkinson's going to come back and continue where he left off this year, coming off the injury. He's going to have a great 2025. So we've got weapons, we've got ways of using those guys, but that's the fun part, is trying to anticipate how we're going to be defended, but then the adjustments in game when we're actually seeing how defenses are expressing themselves. And it's a challenge because there's some great coaches in this league. Guys do a great job trying to limit Justin, and we got to do a job to make sure the best receiver in football is doing his thing.
Well, there's a famous little story. Randy was talking about Randy Moss the first time he met with Bill Belichick. He was like, you don't need to watch any of this. You guys are getting cover two every snap, which I know you guys live in this world too. Another Vikings receiver that sees a lot of cloud coverages. I noticed a few years ago you guys played the Lions, and there was a game where they were on a cover two-man at first and second down, and you guys were figuring out your run game a little bit. Can you speak to maybe some additions you've done in the last few years to take advantage? This is not just Jordan Addison getting open. This is another advantage that these soft boxes give you. Something you guys evolved with, adding Aaron Jones, adding more explosive elements to that, but how you guys take advantage of those looks in the run game?
Aaron, his impact, over 1,500 yards all-purpose, again, played incredibly durable for a guy that handled a huge workload for us. That was big. Obviously, we got off to a great start in our run game this year, and Christian Darrisaw was a big reason for that. I believe he's right up there with the best tackles in football. So when we lost CD, we really had to kind of adjust how we wanted to run the football, but we still had Josh Oliver, who I believe is the best blocking tight end in football. And you mentioned Aaron, and then how we get defended. We've got to continue to improve when we do get some of those lighter box count looks where we can get more efficiency out of our run game, get more removal maybe out of the interior of our offensive line. And what that looks like is what we're going to build towards in 2025. It's always evolving. That's the great thing about our league, is the best coaching staff their staffs are never staying stagnant. You're evolving, you're changing, you're morphing, all staying true to who you want to be and who your principles are of your offense. But you've got to be learning and adapting and infusing that into your players every year.
You're just talking about right there, principles of your offense, your identity and everything. This year you guys were, I would say, aggressive. Would it be an identity you guys had? The 97-yard touchdown to Jefferson. How many times I could think of the Cardinals game, the second half of that game. Is there kind of a method to the madness, I guess, or a method to being so aggressive, knowing that you might take some negative plays, sacks of those sort? I was always just so impressed. You guys would Sam might take a sack on 3rd and 16. There he is throwing a dig on the next route. Is there a formula to this? Is it vibes? Is it leaning into Sam Darnold's personality and play style? Something of that sort that speaks to the aggressiveness you guys played with.
Yeah, I think, first of all, every game is its own.
Yeah.
You know, pairing with what Brian Flores and that defense was doing, leading the league in turnovers, it allowed us to be a little bit more aggressive at times. Momentum plays in games where maybe Cam Bynum or Byron Murphy or Jonathan Grenard forces a turnover. Hey, let's be aggressive to try to turn this turnover into points right now.
After they finish dancing, of course.
Yeah, of course. You had to give them their time to do that. But I think it's you know, there's no secret. I believe in the explosives as a big metric to how you move the football and score points and get down in those red zone areas to try to activate some of those kind of schemed up plays. But explosives are huge. But what I thought we did a really good job of is we didn't throw the ball as much this year. We ran it about 70 plus more times. And then the explosives were still there. Sam was very, very much right at the top of the league in explosives for the season. But then we still were able to keep our turnovers down, because that's what killed us in 2023 was being explosive, but at what cost? We gave the football away far too much, and it starts with me making sure that the plans we present our guys are clear. They know how we need to play, and then the techniques and fundamentals of ball security are the most important critical thing in an organization.
Is it 16 yards still for explosive pass for you?
Yep, exactly. Anything over 15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay, 15. All right.
Something I started tracking this year was 10 plus.
Yeah, 10 plus.
Not necessarily an explosive, but we called them chunks. You know,
Yeah.
explosives and chunks, and those 10 plus completions. I think the most we had in a game was 21 at one point this year, and that was a pretty successful day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Getting a new set of first downs off of some core simple plays, and then adding in the secret sauce to some of the stuff to generate the big ones.
Okay, last question here. Well, more about your combine performance, or maybe when you were about to be a player. You ran a 4.66 40.
4.61.
Whew.
Incredibly disappointing. I thought I'd be in the 4.5s. But that combine grind, before they were tracking with Zebra Technologies, that was way back.
Oh, good plug.
Combine grind took it out of me enough that I wasn't at my best. So I didn't run what I should have. And it might have, maybe I wouldn't have gone to New England. Maybe I wouldn't have been the 94th pick to Bill Belichick welcoming me into the league, and then somehow life comes at you fast.
Could anyone in your quarterback room last year beat you in a race?
J.J. McCarthy thinks he can.
Okay.
But as I tell him every single day, you can't just say that and then not run the 40 coming out. So
Right.
he didn't run. He got the advice not to run. He tells me he would run in the low 4.5s. I say, hey, you either put your hand on the line and run, or you stand and watch everybody else. So you decided to – it worked out for you, 10th pick in the draft, but you can't just say what you want.
You didn't have that scout standing there doing all the timing too. And also the last thing, you have 34-inch arms was the other thing I noticed on the combine thing. As another quarterback that had 34-inch arms, I thought it was a hindrance to my place. I was wondering if you agree with that. Do you have any other thresholds for the quarterback position that maybe look at, like height, weight, speed, or any other positions that maybe like, yeah, I always think that's interesting that like I like this number, a 3-cone for linemen, anything of that sort?
No, I honestly think the 3-cone and the short shuttle will tell you some of the short area quickness, because you watch it, and what that is, it's efficiency in your movements. Right. What do you need as a quarterback navigating an NFL pocket? Efficiency in your movements, and it might not always be full speed. Sometimes it's more that Tom Brady unbelievable awareness of how to slide and kick in the pocket to find that space to operate. But I do think that's a real metric, and I think it matters. I always like seeing the 10, that first 10 yards of the 40, seeing that explosiveness, because let's face it, how many times are they going to be able to open up and run 40 yards without somebody, they're no longer defenseless when they do that. They're no longer protected. So we try to encourage our guys to be smart.
Coach, thank you so much, and congrats again, AP NFL Coach of the Year. Here on behalf of Zebra Technologies, this is Kevin O'Connell. I'm Nate Tice here from New Orleans.